Welcome back. Let's find out if we've got anything wrong so far. For that, we go to TV's Andy Levy.
Thanks, Greg. Let's get right to it, shall we?
Okay.
All right. Greg, you started off your Gregalogue by saying, quote, so the perfect narrative for any movie is the little guy versus the big guy, David versus Goliath, the whistleblower versus the evil corporation, the tough reporter versus the corrupt politician, the half-naked talk show host versus a team of rambunctious houseboys. Who's the little guy in that last one?
Geez, that's a good question.
Yeah.
Usually the lights are out. Yeah.
So you're saying size doesn't matter?
Yes.
Okay.
Your cats. Hi.
Maybe you came back a little too soon, Barret.
You know why you were banned last time. It was the cat jokes.
Speaking of which, though, Greg, you referred to Weiner as a hairless sculpted cat.
Yes.
It's more of a dog, isn't it?
Well, I was using the kind of the 60s vernacular cat.
Like the hep cat.
Yeah, hep cat.
Oh, okay. All right. You kind of threw me with that because it's not something you do on a regular basis.
I know. Sometimes I like to mix things up.
Okay. Andrew, you said you think Weiner's ultimately going to resign, and I agree. Democratic strategist Chris Lehane says Weiner is in a deep, dark, unspinnable place. Senate Majority Leader Harry Reid says he wishes there was some way he could defend Weiner, but he can't, and he says if Weiner called him for advice, he'd tell him to call someone else. And most importantly, Andrew, Matt Damon was scheduled to host a fundraiser for Weiner on June 20th, but he now tells New York Magazine it's going to be postponed because of all of this. If you've lost Matt Damon, Andrew, it's over, isn't it?
It is. It is.
Yeah.
It is. He's my favorite of all of them.
All of the Damons?
Yeah.
Yeah. The Damon brothers? Yeah. Andrew, do you accept the apologies from Joan Walsh, Chris Hayes, Marcos, and all the other people?
Oh, have they?
No.
Oh, okay. I've been out of it. Yeah,
okay.
It's been amazing, isn't it?
Right,
Isn't it weird that they criticize me all the time about accountability or, truthfulness?
Yeah.
And they got caught with their pants down and there's no accountability. Where is there somebody to go to them and say, what are you going to do about it? You got caught with your pants down, and it's not a small thing to accuse me of having hacked a sitting congressman.
Yeah. The thing is, I don't know if we talked about this before on the show, but being a liberal generally means you never have to say you're sorry.
Yes.
You never have to admit that Alger Hiss was right or that the Rosenbergs were guilty.
I think we agree on this principle.
Okay. Right. How did you become a one-man vast right-wing conspiracy?
It happened on this show. You remember I during Acorn,
Yeah.
you jokingly said, what next? And I said, I'm going to take down the institutional left.
Yep.
And I said it half jokingly, but Marcos took it seriously, created a hashtag on Twitter, Breitbart, and I said, okay, buddy, if you're going to take jokes on Red Eye and try and turn them into serious content and pretend like I actually meant that, you've inspired me to try to take down the institutional left, and this is part of my campaign.
So I'm trying to remember, was that the same episode where you snorted grape Kool-Aid or tweaked your nipples?
No, this is the one where I poured water into my genitals because you were talking about some homoeroticism.
Wait.
Oh, that old one.
Yeah,
We were?
Yeah.
You have to be more
I
specific.
get confused.
That show.
Yeah.
No, okay. All
It's in
right.
the greatest hits.
Yeah, no, it is actually. By the way, that paragon of class, Donald Trump, posted a video on his Facebook page calling Weiner a bad guy and a psycho.
Yeah.
It's fun. This thing, don't stop.
Dana, you said what you found most offensive was the banality of the hubris and the contempt, and I agree with that. But don't you think ultimately this is the story of a guy who probably wasn't all that popular with the ladies in the high school, and then he gets a little bit of the power, and now he sort of just goes nuts?
Yeah, right. There's an infantile aspect to it.
Yeah.
All through and through, yeah.
Okay.
I agree with that.
Stop agreeing with me.
I think we talked about that with Julian Assange, too. Like Greg pointed out that if some kind maiden had but disrobed for Mr. Assange, none of this would have happened.
Yeah. Well, it builds up until like you're in your mid-30s, and then suddenly, or 40s, you're a congressman. It's like, now I'm going to sleep with every girl that turned me down.
I think one of the reasons why I don't have these type of compulsions is because the first night that I delivered pizza when I was 16 years old, I saw 2 naked women.
There you go.
And maybe also because you're married and you actually have a moral compass. Yeah. Maybe.
Yeah, Andrew, that was a movie you were watching.
Loverboy, too. Brentwood Boogaloo.
By the way, to be fair to Assange, I think it was more he was frustrated because all he wanted to do was dance.
Yes, that is true.
Yeah. Barrett, bless your heart for explaining the proper use of y'all.
No, you're welcome. Yeah. Bless your heart.
All y'all could learn from her.
I love how the Long Island Jew is telling us how to use y'all.
Well, all y'all is the plural form of y'all.
Yeah, of course. I learned the proper usage of y'all in the Army, Greg.
Oh, really?
When I was surrounded by people from the South and mostly from Texas.
The only time you use y'all is when you start talking about watching these NASCAR races.
No, you're thinking of S.E. Cup.
Okay.
Yeah. By the way, y'all were talking about Megan Broussard, the single mom from Texas.
Very good.
Turns out her brother, Ben Broussard, is a former Major League Baseball player who's tied for the record for most career pinch hit grand slams. Andrew, did you know this when you first started the hoax?
I actually did find this out during the process, and
yeah.
I was pretty excited that if Congressman Weiner decided to go after her or attack her, that the New York Yankees would probably not like that one iota.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. What else? Dana, to cut Jon Stewart and his staff maybe a little slack. Weiner's press conference on Monday happened only a couple hours before they taped. Maybe they did a better job earlier tonight.
Totally.
I don't know. Or maybe not. Who knows?
Yeah. Somebody's got a resume out.
No. Yeah. Well, after last week.
Yeah, and also, Andy, I mean, Stewart said last week that if it happened, he had to go. So he's at least, yeah, I mean.
Yeah. And just lastly, here's my theory about Howard Kurtz. He consistently gets things wrong, but then after the facts are in, he'll always write a column telling you why everything was so obvious.
Yeah. He just did that today.
Yeah.
He talked about how Jeff Jarvis or somebody missed this big story. And from what I remember, wasn't it Kurtz that missed the big story?
Yeah, but Kurtz started the whole thing by tweeting that he was fairly certain it was a hoax.
Yeah.
How did he become the media critic?
Well, here's the deal, Andrew. He's a retro cog. He works for DC's post-crime division. So after everything is solved, he comes in and explains it.
Yeah, on reliable sources, he was one of the guys who allowed for, they carried the campaign that attacked me. I mean, am I not the source? Why am I not on to talk about the thing? The show's a misnomer.
More like unreliable sources, right?
I have some media criticism.
What?
I was not in this block at all.
You were?
FaceTime!
You told me before the show, don't come to me at halftime, I want to take a nap.
Yeah, I forgot.
We thought you were just blood letting.
Also, yeah, I didn't want you to bleed all over the camera.
Yeah.
What is wrong with
never
you?
had
I'm not healing.
I don't understand.
Yeah.
Don't worry, I sucked it off of his hand, and there's no more blood left.
And then you did a tequila shot.
Yeah. I'd say it was
That was
stigmata,
before
but
the
there's just no chance of that.
Yeah. All right, Andy.
Okay.
Are you done?
I sure am.
That does it for today's adventure. If you're new here, please subscribe. Take it one step further and ring that notification bell. And if you enjoyed today's video, please give it a big old like and a thumbs up. It lets me know you care. I'll see you in the next video. Right on.